In the construction of our secondary unit, we begin with the development of a full analysis of our musical selection. Often we think of analysis, we are taken back to our theory classes and envision labeling every secondary dominant and French augmented sixth chord we can find and how that leads to a transcendent musical experience. While this is important in understanding the theoretical importance of a piece, analyzing music for teaching in the classroom is a different animal in and of itself. You are not simply analyzing the form, structure, or construction of a piece. You are analyzing the educational opportunities hidden within the composition. In other words, you are archaeologists working to dig deep enough to discover the educational value and relevance of this piece of music for the musical development of your ensemble members. This is one of the most time-consuming efforts you will face as a conductor, but also one of the most musically rewarding. In just a moment, I want you to hit the pause button. When you do, take a moment to put into your own words why analysis is important to you and how you will use these skills to create the most productive learning environment for your students. Remember that analysis provides you with a wealth of approaches to teaching various pieces. The more you know and understand about a piece, the deeper your teaching of the content will be, and the opportunities for your students to perform with understanding increase greatly. You may hit the pause button now to jot down some ideas. Welcome back. Patty O'Toole phrased it best in Chapter 1 when she wrote, "Analyzing music provides you with a wealth of ideas for creatively teaching music because the more you know about a piece, the more in-depth your teaching will be." Over the course of the next few slides, we will be working our way through our musical selection. Please use the pause button as necessary to mark your score or to jot down ideas that you have regarding the analysis of your concept, topic, or composition. The best way to approach analysis is to start broadly and to work your way to the minutiae. If you start to narrow, it is often difficult to see the forest among the trees. Keep in mind that it is difficult to see oncoming traffic if you are just staring at the floorboard. So, using the table provided in class, or that is located on Canvas, first start with a broad description of your piece. Hit pause if you need to, but think of the best way to describe your selection. Use the examples in the books as a guide to help develop this description. If you are thinking about a concept, think about the umbrella under which that concept fits. If this will help in identifying the description. Hit pause now. Now, funnel this down into a genre. How would you classify this piece of music? Is it a march? Is it a fanfare? Is it a band overture? Is it an opera overture? Is it a work song? Is it a spiritual? Is it a sacred choral work? If we look just at the band overture and the opera overture, while they're both labeled an overture, the two are markedly different in approach. As you look through and try and work down to a genre, any of the ones that I've listed above utilizes a different approach to preparation, analysis, and execution. Take just a moment and identify the genre of your piece you have selected for your unit plan. You can hit pause now. Identifying the genre allows you to now narrow your search when it comes to determining background information. Background information includes, but is not limited to, style period, composer's life, experiences, heritage, time periods within his or her life. Style period will help in identifying specific practices with regard to articulation, diction, style, vibrato, dynamic shaping, among others. If we look at the composer's life experience, this can be invaluable in terms of the analysis. For instance, Beethoven's compositions prior to the Heiligenstadt document are radically different from those and require different levels of analysis from the ones before. Symphonies written in Mozart's early career are highly different from his Tafelmusik of the 1780s. Handel's Messiah has interesting historical twists that are fascinating and have implications on his writing. Gustav Holst's Hammersmith is day and night different from his first suite in E-flat major. I only mention this because understanding these issues will directly impact how you make your instructional decisions about the piece. Why did the composer write this piece? Is this necessarily a good representation of his work? Are there others that might teach the same concepts and have more value to your classroom? What about the original performer? Who originally performed the work or premiered the work? Is it realistic for my group to work up a performance of this piece? Does this piece fit developmentally? Are there any traditions associated with this piece? For instance, standing up at the Hallelujah Chorus during the Messiah, or standing during a national anthem. Is there anything unique to it from that perspective? What about choral works? A foreign language piece. What is the translation? Who did the translation? From what language was it coming? What about an original poet? What is the story of the author? What is the story of the author writing that piece? Have these poets and musicians collaborated before? Is there a consistent connection between them? What is the mood of the story? For instrumentalists, consider solo requirements. Do you have the soloists to successfully perform this piece? Are the technical requirements consistent with the ability level of your ensemble? Or will they allow for substantial growth? Is the product of good quality? If it's an arrangement or transcription, is it faithful to the original? At this point, you should be considering the musical gestures that will now be required to perform the piece with understanding. In context of everything you've done up to this point, a broad description, down to a genre, developing the background information, this should start to begin developing those gestures and understanding what decisions you're going to make. Again, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to hit pause again, and I want you to consider the elements or concepts that are existing within your composition. Over the next 3 to 5 minutes, scan your score for the following elements and describe each briefly. Provide specific enough notes so that you can expand on these notes and fill in the holes after completing this portion of the analysis. Again, use the table provided in class or that is located in Canvas. You will share your detailed findings during the next class period. So let's take a look at these elements. Form. What is the structure? Is it ternary? Binary? Rondo? Are there other devices used? Fugue, chaconne, passacaglia, to name a few? Once we've considered form, then we start looking at the rhythm. What are the primary motives? What are the common values? Is there a specific rhythm that seems to be focused on in this work? Is there a theme in its development? Are there challenging combinations of rhythms? Once you have an idea of rhythm, then we will begin to look at melody. What is the shape of the theme? Is it major? Is it minor? Are there motives? Counter motives? How do they shape together? Then we look at harmony. Is there a harmonic rhythm? Does it follow conventional patterns? Is it predictable? Then we start to look at timbre. Think about the colors of the piece. Are there interesting instrument combinations? How does this impact the mood? Do I have the instrumentation to pull this off? Do I have the voices to pull this off? What is required of the voices? What sounds beyond the voice are required if I'm teaching in the choral setting? How does this contribute to the overall ensemble sound? Then we begin to look at texture. Is it homophonic, polyphonic, monophonic? Does the density change throughout the piece? Or does it stay full voice all the way through? Is there enough variation within the texture to keep the piece interesting? What about dynamics, phrasing, musicality, tempo, style, all of these expressive elements? How do they interact with each other to take this to the next level? And then some ideas with additional considerations. How is tension and release treated? When does it occur? Is it effective? Will there be buy-in from the students? And above all, as you go through all of these, form, rhythm, melody, harmony, timbre, texture, expression, or any of these other additional considerations, as you go through the table and the grid, start to also uncover what is your evidence. You begin to see it, but then begin to document that evidence. Tell us why. Why does this show a specific form? What is your evidence of the timbre changes? Continue exploring into that. Take just a moment now, hit the pause button, and work your way through those elements of music. Now that we're back from looking at the elements, O'Toole has a really great quote. And I'm going to pull this from chapter 5. Or chapter 1, excuse me. It is not always clear why a composer chooses a particular gesture. So consequently, you must often make an informed guess. These guesses will reveal your emerging interpretation. It is not enough to notice musical characteristics. The point of analyzing elements of music is to construct an interpretation. It is the act of interpretation that makes us artists. And interpreting music based on well-formed analysis makes us great artists. This process allows for your creative juices to begin flowing. Everything you do in this process of preparation is a synthesis of hours of hard work you have done in the past 4 years. Enjoy this process. Let it consume you. The journey of taking students through this experience will be more meaningful than I can express in words in this presentation. That journey, the journey of creating musicians from the foundation up, begins now. It starts with your musical and educational analysis of this piece of music or the undertaking of this musical concept. The final topic we need to discuss is the heart of the music. What is the heart of the music? This item is unique and specific to individual musicians. Everyone will have a differing view. So take a moment to read through the questions on the screen. Think back through your initial analysis. Discover the heart of music for you. When you have an initial idea, write it down and describe why you chose that as the heart of the music. Then keep this with you as you write your unit plan. It may change as you dig deeper and you see the connections being made more throughout your analysis. You may find that the heart was actually someplace else, but when you find it, write it down. Keep it with you. Refer to it often. And base all of your decisions based on what is the heart of that piece of music. So I want you to press pause, and I just want you to think about this and answer the questions on the screen. When you're ready, you can hit resume and we will finish the section. You may press pause now. Now, determine what concepts envelop the heart of the music and that you want to teach. As you review the concepts that you uncovered and you look at the heart of the music, how did the two intertwine? What are these teachable concepts that our students can develop and take those next strides into becoming independent musicians? Now take a few moments and review your work so far. Start at the very beginning, where you look at the broad description and work your way through all the way to the teachable concepts. And as you get to the concepts, begin to develop a prioritized list of all of them. All of the concepts that your piece or your concept provides for your students. And bring the grid with you to class next period. In the end, this initial process can be summed up in 3 words: invest, share, create. You invest time into your analysis to share your musical experiences with your students in hopes of creating lifelong musicians who will continue to create, perform, respond, and connect with music with understanding. Fantastic job on your first step of the unit plan process. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and analyses and sharing with each other our discoveries. See you in class.